when you were there and you caught Abu Zubaydah.
Mhm.
This, I'm sure you would be in line for promotion after capturing
Uh,
number 3 in Al-Qaeda, right?
yes.
What happened after that? What's your story after that?
Well, I got a medal. I got a huge award, and then I was denied promotion. And I was shocked, and I shouted at my boss, "What do I have to do to get promoted around here? Do I have to catch bin Laden? I just caught the number 3 in Al Qaeda, and I'm denied promotion." Well, it turned out that the reason why I was denied promotion was that as soon as I got home from Pakistan, they asked me if I wanted to be trained in the torture techniques so I could be used to torture prisoners. And I said, no, I have a moral and ethical problem with it. I believe it's illegal. I want nothing to do with it. Of the 14 people that they asked, I was the only one who said no.
Hmm.
And so the director of the Counterterrorism Center, Jose Rodriguez, a monster, said that I had, his words, displayed a shocking lack of commitment to counterterrorism. So in the meantime, I got the job of a lifetime, and I became the executive assistant to the deputy director for operations. And I said, I was passed over for promotion. He said, what? He said, how? And I said, Jose said that because I wouldn't torture these guys. He said, I'll promote you. And he just signed a promotion. And so I was promoted instantly. So there were those in the
Setup.
yeah, in the chain of command that were thinking correctly on this issue of torture.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they were shunted aside, and a decision was made that torture was going to be an official policy.
Right. But you blew the whistle on it.
I did. You know, the truth though is that I just assumed somebody else would blow the whistle. And
Right.
so I remained silent. And then I resigned from the CIA in 2004. My resignation was effective in 2005, and still nobody would blow the whistle. And so finally in 2007, a reporter called me,
Hmm.
and I decided I was going to do it. I was just going to just tell the truth.
And
So
yeah.
that's what I did.
And then one would think that you would be a hero for free speech and blowing the whistle on this. But then the Obama administration, ironically, a campaign that was run on hope and change, and maybe
Ha!
shedding some light and some transparency, uh,
Right.
they are the ones who actually went ahead and prosecuted you.
Yes, yes, indeed. For a number of reasons. First of all, it was John Brennan.
Yes.
John Brennan, who at first was the Deputy National Security Advisor for Counterterrorism and then the CIA director in the
Hmm.
Obama administration. It was John Brennan who specifically went after me. John and I always hated each other. I've
Hmm.
known John Brennan for 35 years. I've always hated the guy. I thought he was in over his head intellectually.
Yeah.
And he was one of the founders, one of the fathers of the torture program. And so you had a president who had 2 years of experience. Can you imagine that? To think about that for a moment.
Hmm.
He was in the US Senate for 2 years. That was his only qualification to be president of the United States. And so he was very susceptible to the advice and the biases of the people around him. Well, John
Hmm.
Brennan was his lead intelligence advisor. And John Brennan said, we need to stop these leaks because we're going to start doing things like using drones to kill people. We need to put this guy Kiriakou in prison. And so
Right.
that's exactly what they did.
He didn't have any experience. He was in Saudi Arabia as well with when he was in the CIA, right?
Oh, Brennan had lots of experience. Obama had no experience.
Yeah.
Obama was in the Senate for 2 years before he was elected president and had never, ever read a classified CIA document. He had never seen one. Yeah, utterly unprepared to become president.
And what led to eventually you spending 24 months in jail? I know I'm fast forwarding a bit, but
That's okay. What they started doing was they knew I hadn't committed espionage. And
Right.
so the espionage charges were dropped eventually. They waited until I went bankrupt and then they dropped the charges. But what they did is they tapped my phones and they went through my emails, 3 years worth of emails, and they were able to find one single email where I confirmed the surname of a former colleague. And they said, aha, that's a crime. And so that's the crime that I pleaded guilty to. So they offered me 30 months in prison. I would serve 23. And I said to my attorneys, I'm going to turn it down. I want to go to trial. I haven't done anything wrong.
Hmm.
And they said that if I went to trial and I was convicted, it would be a lot longer than 23 months. I said, realistically, how much time am I looking at? If I lose,
Hmm.
they told me 12 to 18 years.
Yeah.
And so I took the deal.
Where would they bring the trial though? In America?
Yeah, it was in the Eastern District of Virginia. And this was another thing.
This would be a jury in Eastern District of Virginia. Oh, so Washington, D.C. insiders.
CIA, Pentagon, FBI, DIA. This is where they live and work. And
Yes.
so that would have been my jury.
So the chances are that you could face conviction.
If you've
And a
ever
longer
heard of,
term. Yeah.
oh yeah, if you've ever heard of O.J. Simpson,
Yes, of course.
he was so I hired O.J. Simpson's jury consultant.
Okay. Yeah.
And we got him a security clearance. He went through 10,000 pages of documents. And finally, we had a meeting with all the attorneys. I had 11 lawyers and O.J. Simpson's jury consultant. And he said, if we were in any district in America other than the Eastern District of Virginia, I would say, let's do it. We're going to win. But the Eastern District of Virginia, your jury is going to be CIA, DIA, FBI, Pentagon. He said, you don't have a prayer. Take the deal. And so I
Hmm.
took the deal.
Now that you're out, you're independent, and you are a commentator of a very renowned commentator who has first-hand experience, does the CIA look at you with some trepidation? Are they happy when you talk about all these things? What's life after prison, after blowing the whistle and talking about your experience?
Well, I still have friends inside the CIA, and we've talked about that. The truth is, most of my detractors are either dead or retired because we're talking about, my actions were 20 years ago. So they're mostly dead or retired. And now that they're retired, nobody pays any attention to what they say.
Mm.
Um, the position inside the CIA has changed about me. A friend of mine told me just a few weeks ago that she was participating in a briefing, a security briefing, and they showed a slide with my picture and it said, the insider threat. And she said, everybody started booing, boo, boo. And the instructor said, wait, why? Why is everybody booing? And she said, he's not a threat. He's the whistleblower. We should aspire to be like him. And she said in the next running of the briefing that they had taken the slide out.
That's your
So
win, right?
I won. It took 20 years,
Yeah.
but I won.
We just celebrated Diwali over here in India, the triumph of good over
Yes,
evil. This
that's
is it.
right.
This is it right here.
That's exactly right.
So I'm sure you're now trying to get a pardon.
I am actively.
How's
Yes.
that going?
And frankly, Donald Trump is the only president who would have the guts to do it. The rest of them are just in the grasp of the CIA. I have very, very important Republicans who support me. Tucker Carlson, Judge Napolitano, excuse me, Dr. Phil, if you know who Dr. Phil
Yeah.
is, and Republican political figures, the governor of Texas, for example. And so I'm told that my file is literally on his desk. It's just a question of whether he signs it or not. And
Right.
every day I wake up and I say, I hope today's the day.